1. Introduction. RAWSEP View. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building, for just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the eco-design wood stove, and international convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP View. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary. Episode 57 DFD. March 11th, 2025. In Wisconsin, a Chilton Sheep Farmer is unsettled by Trump cuts to AG. In Episode 57 DFD. 1A. United States stock market tumble under Trump. 1B. United States the problem for Democratic Optimists. 1C. United States wood burning and Native American homes, how wood gathered from federal forests heats Native American homes. RAWSEP View. This news story illustrates the lack of education about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning that harms the people who burn wood unnecessarily, and most important to RAWSEP, harms the near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners who are not taking the actions that harm their own health, but who are harmed in the same way as the people who choose to burn wood rather than use clean alternatives for home heating, such as heat pumps that now work down to 40 degrees below zero and double as air conditioners. 2. Wisconsin A Chilton Sheep Farmer. Trump cuts unsettle Wisconsin AG programs. U.S. farms are TBD to be determined. 3C. United States wood burning laws on when you are allowed to burn wood. RAWSEP View. The best way to understand when you should burn wood is to know that you should never burn wood. There are clean alternatives to burning wood in 2025, and they are cheaper than burning wood. What to know before you burn is that you should not burn wood. Why pollute the fresh spring air with wood burning? Air pollution that shortens your life and shortens the life of your family members and shortens the life of your near neighbors. Burning wood also hastens climate change. 3. The United States and France, India, and China. U.S. embassies halt abroad. 4. California. 5. Connecticut. 6. Massachusetts. 7. Michigan. 8. New York. 9. North Carolina. 10. Oregon. 11. South Carolina. 12. Washington. 13. Washington, D.C. 14. Wisconsin. 15. Canada. 16. Germany. 17. China. 18. Thailand. 19. PM 2.5 and human health. Main content. 1A. United States stock market tumble under Trump. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. Substack letters from an American. Heather Cox Richardson. March 11th, 2025. Last week, the stock market dramatically dropped. This prompted Fox News to ask Trump in an interview that aired yesterday if he was expecting a recession. Trump answered, "I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we are doing is very big." Yesterday evening on Air Force One, a reporter asked President Donald Trump if he is worried about a recession. Who knows? The president answered, "All I know is this: we are going to take in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, and we are going to become so rich you are not going to know where to spend all that money. I am telling you, just watch. We are going to have jobs. We are going to have open factories. It is going to be great." Today, the stock market plunged. The Dow Jones Industrial Average of 30 prominent companies listed on U.S. stock exchanges fell by 890 points, more than 2%. The S&P 500, which tracks the stocks of 500 of the largest companies listed in the U.S., fell by 27%. The Nasdaq Composite, which tracks tech stocks, fell by 4%. Shares of the Musk Tesla closed down more than 15%, dropping more than 45% this year. Tonight, as the Asian markets opened on the other side of the world, the slide continued. According to MarketWatch, this is the worst start to a presidential term since 2009, when the country was in the subprime mortgage crisis. Trump did not inherit an economy mired in crisis. Of course, he Inherited what was at the time the strongest economy in the world. That booming economy is no more. Goldman is now predicting higher inflation and slower growth than it had previously forecast, while its forecast for Europe is now stronger than it had been. Trump has always been a dodgy salesman, more than anything telling supporters what they want to hear. He insisted that the strong economy under former President Joe Biden was in fact a disaster that only he could fix. In October, Trump told attendees at a rally, "We will begin a new era of soaring income, skyrocketing wealth, millions and millions of new jobs, and a booming middle class. We are going to boom like we have never boomed before." That sales pitch got Trump away from the criminal cases against him and back into the White House. Now, though, he needs to make the sales pitch fit into a reality that it does not match. Trump is steering the country toward a downturn with his tariffs and cuts to spending and the federal workforce for no logical reason. Washington Post economic reporter Heather Long wrote on March 6, "The Trump whipsaw actions have put businesses and consumers on edge." She noted if they stop spending at the same time that the government slashes jobs and spending, a downward spiral could lead to a recession. Trump is inciting an economic storm. Long wrote, "The big question is why he is doing this. One answer might be that the Trump top priority is the extension of the 2017 tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations at the same time that he has also promised to cut the deficit. Those two things are utterly at odds." The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates that extending the tax cuts will cost the country more than $4 trillion over the next 10 years. Tariffs appear to have been the Trump workaround for that incompatibility. He claimed that tariffs would shift the burden of funding the U.S. government to foreign countries when economists reiterated that tariffs are paid by U.S. consumers and would drive up prices and slow growth. He insisted they were wrong. Increasingly, tariffs seem to have become for him not just the solution to his economic dilemma, but also a symbol of American strength. Tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs, Trump told Congress last week. They are about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it is happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There will be a little disturbance, but we are okay with that. After watching Trump talk to a Fox News Channel host in mid-February, the Bulwark noted that Trump seemed truly to believe that tariffs would bring in tremendous amounts of money for that, as well as his apparent conviction that Palestinians should evacuate Gaza so the U.S. could take over and develop the real estate there, and that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state, and so on. The Bulwark reporter concluded, Donald Trump is delusional. Another reason for the Trump dog determination to impose tariffs despite the pain they are inflicting on Americans might lie in the James Fallows observation in Breaking the News after the Trump speech to Congress that the Trump mental acuity is slipping. Fallows noted that the Trump vocabulary has shrunk markedly since his first term, and he appears to be falling back on more primitive and predictable phrases. Tonight, the president appeared to be moving back in time as well, advertising the availability of the first season of the Emmy-nominated Original Apprentice starring President Donald Trump. The White House said today in a statement, since President Trump was elected, industry leaders have responded to President the Trump America First economic agenda of tariffs, deregulation, and the unleashing of American energy with trillions in investment commitments that will create thousands of new jobs. President Trump delivered historic job, wage, and investment growth in his first term and is set to do so again in his second term. 1B United States, the problem for Democratic Optimists. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates of 501c3 nonprofit organization. The New York Times, March 11, 2025. The Democratic Party designated responder to the Trump speech, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, delivered a calm and moderate message, which was well received by Democrats. Gavin Newsom, up to now not seen as a moderate, just decided to break with party orthodoxy on the hottest of hot-button issues, transgender rights. Most Democrats have come to understand that the Biden approach to immigration was a political as well as policy failure. In a recent Pew poll, 40% of black Democrats and 43% of Asian Democrats supported increased efforts to deport people living illegally in the U.S. The Trump appeal to working-class black and Hispanic voters represents a mortal threat to its future. Democratic donors, both large and small, are potentially pulling the party to the left. The Democratic Party does not have an extremist leader that threatens party members to stay loyal, and does not have billionaire donors with ideological tests. Bernie Sanders to AOC have been willing to make strategic moves to the middle in key moments and endorse more moderate candidates. The Democratic Party voting bloc is trending more liberal, but has a considerable number of constituencies that are both willing to follow a more centrist candidate and are fiercely aligned against MAGA, such that they will vote for any Democrat. Democrats monitor the effects of the current administration on bureaucratic efficacy in environmental and financial regulation. The Democratic Party needs to ensure policies favored by its activist primary voters are absorbed and complemented with old-fashioned health and inequality reducing universalist programs, the demand for which will increase if tariffs have an inflationary effect or national debt levels strain the budget. There is little evidence that running on progressive policies has hurt Democrats, or conversely that abandoning those positions has been electorally profitable. We are no longer in an era of political competition between liberalism and conservatism, but between democratic values and authoritarianism. It is time for Democrats to steadfastly defend those values which are so deeply cherished by most Americans. If President Trump fails to fulfill the promises that drove his campaign, Democrats could defeat his successor in 2028. 1C United States, wood burning and Native American homes. How wood gathered from federal forests heats Native American homes. RAWSEP View This news story illustrates the lack of education about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning that harms the people who burn wood unnecessarily, and most important to RAWSEP, harms the near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners who are not taking the actions that harm their own health, but who are harmed in the same way as the people who choose to burn wood rather than use clean alternatives for home heating, such as heat pumps that now work down to 40 degrees below zero and double as air conditioners. Using a heat pump connected to the electric grid that is available to all rural areas in 2025 lowers monthly electricity bills immediately because of the efficiency efficiency of heat pumps, there are heat pump rebates available in many United States in 2025 for up to $8,000 based on a sliding income scale. It is not generally known or not generally publicized that wood burning emits 2.8 times the CO2 and PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems. An early deaths tradition, which creates air pollution that brings early deaths, is a tradition that should not be continued when wood burning was the only alternative for home heating. In the past, human life expectancy was much shorter. As a direct result, other methods of home heating produce warmth and comfort. Hunching in front of a wood fire only toasts one side of the human body, unlike the entire body warmth produced by heat sent into a room by ductwork from a heat pump. Hunching in front of a wood fire can produce toasted skin syndrome that sometimes progresses to skin cancer. Should Native Americans have lower life expectancy just because they choose a home heating method that is highly polluting? Native Americans, like any group of human beings, take the same risks of illness and early death when they choose to use wood burning instead of clean alternatives for home heating. Instead of being what they believe is an essential part of their lives, wood burning is an essential part of their early deaths. The advertising of the wood burning industry wishes otherwise, but there should be more education on the air pollution produced by indoor residential wood burning. Having a purple air PM 2.5 monitor hanging from the eaves of a near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner will open the eyes of everyone in the vicinity and neighborhood of an indoor residential wood burner. The safe limit of PM 2.5, according to the World Health Organization, is 5 micrograms per cubic meter. The statistics comparing emissions from indoor residential wood burning to coal burning or to natural gas burning come from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the eco-design wood stove. CBS News: burning their clothes and burning weed to heat their homes wood thinned from forests prevents wildfires and heats Native American homes. Yahoo Washoe elder Violet Pete 69 told CBS News the crackle of burning wood has been the soundtrack to her life in her childhood. The wood stove was not wood thinned from forests prevents wildfires and heats Native American homes. Ilkan, the Washoe tribe, has a deeply intertwined relationship with fire, considering it an essential part of their lives, using it for warmth, cooking, and 2. Wisconsin A Chilton Sheep Farmer Trump cuts unsettle Wisconsin AG programs. U.S. farms are TBD to be determined. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Capitol Times, March 11, 2025. A Chilton Sheep Farmer fears the impact of cuts for federal conservation funding and staff in Wisconsin. In 2018, the Chilton Sheep Farmer, who raises lamb meat and wool fiber, was looking for ways to make his farm in the Fox Valley of Wisconsin more efficient. The idea was to plant permanent crops that could help improve the ecological health of his farm and double as feed for his sheep. He was supported by the Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRSC, a federal agency that offers funding and technical expertise to help farmers. NRSC Trump administration laid off dozens of Wisconsin-based agency workers in recent weeks. Federal funding for conservation initiatives, especially money added during the former President Joe Biden administration, is also up in the air. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has frozen funds for some NRSC programs. The Chilton Sheep Farmer said he heard from farmers who were unable to get their funding and were uncertain if they would ever be able to move forward on changes to their farming practice that could be crucial to their business survival. I guess a lot of us farms are TBD to be determined. He said the origins of NRCS date to the Dust Bowl, when soil erosion helped cause an ecological disaster widely credited for extending the Great Depression and damaging agriculture in the middle United States. Around 50 NRCS employees statewide have lost their jobs out of an overall Wisconsin workforce of roughly 350. 3. United States heat pumps and Trump in the market for a heat pump? Here is what the Trump tariffs mean for you. Financial Post expect to pay more for heat pumps, EVs, and home batteries as climate-friendly products and components made abroad get more expensive. 3. United States heat pumps: how heat pumps became the American hottest home energy system. Reasons to be cheerful: the U.S. has gotten on the heat pump bandwagon with the efficient heating and cooling technology outselling gas furnaces 3 years in a row. Here is how ultra-efficient heat pumps compare to traditional HVAC systems. Yahoo: enter heat pumps, a smart energy-efficient solution that provides both heating and cooling in one system, unlike traditional furnaces, which only this map shows. Where to swap out industrial boilers for heat pumps. Canary Media large heat pump in blue installed at industrial facility. An industrial heat pump. Wikimedia: U.S. manufacturers rely on more than 30,000 small. Here is how ultra-efficient heat pumps compare to traditional HVAC systems. The cool-down heat pumps are a smart energy-efficient solution for heating and cooling your home. Heat pump performance today. ACHR News: heat pumps are more energy efficient than many traditional heating and cooling systems, and therefore upgrading a system to an all-electric heat pump. Etherlux Zero Frost heat pump technology proven. Globe Newswire: Etherlux Zero Frost heat pump technology proven, measured, and setting a new standard in the HVAC industry. Work Sport highlights strong reception. Make a smart home investment with an all-climate heat pump. Yahoo Finance: all-climate heat pumps are the next generation of heat pump technology built for peak performance regardless of the outdoor temperature. From the cutting industrial emissions by saving energy, heat pumps to the rescue. Forbes advances in industrial heat pumps able to deliver ever high temperatures and cut climate change emissions are emerging. Europe and Asia may have. Carrier introduces residential R32 air to water heat pump. PV Magazine: PV Magazine Carrier, a U.S.-based heating solutions provider, has launched a new series of air-to-water heat pumps for residential buildings. Millions of Americans can get $10,000 in government incentives for a brand new heat pump. The cool down the home electrification and appliances rebate here program offers serious savings for low and middle-income households switching to electric. 3C United States wood burning laws on when you are allowed to burn wood. RAWSEP View: the best way to understand when you should burn wood is to know that you should never burn wood. There are clean alternatives to burning wood in 2025, and they are cheaper than burning wood. What to know before you burn is that you should not burn wood. Why pollute the fresh spring air with wood burning? Air pollution solution that shortens your life and shortens the life of your family members and shortens the life of your near neighbors. Burning wood also hastens climate change. From the article titled Spring Fire Season, What to Know About When to Burn MSN Escape and Unwind with Early 2025 Deals. Add why you should not bring firewood with you on a camping trip. Lifehacker why 3D United States heat pumps. This state is paying homeowners $1,600 to upgrade their old HVACs. Check to see if you qualify to cool down. The $1,600 rebate is, for example, with a Tier 1 heat pump, homeowners can earn $1,200. A Tier 2 heat pump qualifies for $1,400 in rebates. 3 United States and France, India, and China. U.S. embassies halt abroad air quality monitoring. The New York Times. The New York Times. Particulate matter, known as PM 2.5, the particles can enter the lungs and bloodstream and have been linked to respiratory problems, heart attacks. U.S. embassies in pollution data. Popularity for California Napa Valley letter, the harms of breathing with smoke. The Napa Valley Register letter. As a respiratory therapist, I can speak to the health harms of breathing with smoke. This smoke contains fine particles that can cause a 5 Connecticut Hartford Department of Environment deep reminds residents to use best practices when wood burning for heat. CP Gov. Wood smoke is a complex mixture of gases and fine particles produced when wood and other organic matter burn. Wood smoke contains hazardous air. Burning wood to keep a home warm is a long-standing tradition in New England, and we still expect to have a few more cold days before 6 Massachusetts Newburyport Port FD responded to 2 calls at company within hours. CNHI. The original incident was caused by an excessive buildup of heat in a wood-fired furnace, according to a Newburyport Fire Department post on Facebook. 7 Michigan Oakland County. Auburn Hills. Auburn Hills considers banning leaf burning within city limits. CBS News. MSN. Auburn Hills has about 23,000 residents, a population count that calls for such an ordinance. Oakland County Times. These regulations ensure safety by requiring wood burning to take place in approved units like fire pits or chimeneas with dry and seasoned firewood. 8 New York. Long Island. Massive wildfires erupt on Long Island. New York Post. Wood Lake on March 8, 2025 in West Hampton, New York. Getty Images. Plumes of smoke seen from 9 A North and South Carolina's backyard. Burning believed to have started Carolina forest fires. ABC 11. The air quality is a big concern as the fires continue to burn, creating a lot of smoke. She lives in the Walker Woods neighborhood. Flames shot high. South Carolina officials urge caution as wildfire smoke could impact air quality across. Wildfires burn across Carolinas as season peaks. What is ahead as the Hurricane Helene impact comes. Post and Courier. Wood smoke haze enveloped the tourist pack downtown, and hotels, resorts, cabins, and condos scattered along the mountainsides, many perched atop South Carolina. WACH. Wood state environmental officials want people to be cautious if they are near the smoke of wildfires and aware that air quality could be 9B. North Carolina. Gaston County. Large woods fire in Gaston County. MSN. Firefighters from across Gaston County are battling a large woods fire in the Stewart Ridge area of Cramerton. Authorities reported Monday. 10 Oregon. Portland. Efforts to decrease wood burning in Portland not exactly catching fire. Oregon. Live from Oregon. Live wood burning to more affluent people buying wood fireplaces and wood stoves. Ordinance to prevent wood burning on the worst air quality days. Burn ordinance to prevent wood burning on the worst air quality days. Burn ban. Multnomah County. Multnomah County issues mandatory wood burning efforts to decrease the use of wood stoves and wood burning fireplaces in Portland seem to have had little effect, according to preliminary. 11A. South Carolina. Horry County. Fire in the forest crews continue working to contain 2059-acre fire. MSN. Ways to increase the heat from your wood burning fireplace. The Family Handyman. Ways to increase the heat from your wood burning fireplace. 14. 11B. South Carolina. Myrtle Beach. Florence. Firefighters clear scene after large fast-moving woods fire. WMBF. Firefighters in the 12A. Washington. King County installs costly heat pumps for free at adult family homes. King 5. A new rebate program is funding new heating and cooling systems for dozens of adult care homes. The goal is to help the most vulnerable. First King 5 adult care homes receive free heat pumps. YouTube. A rebate program through the Climate Commitment Act is helping seniors get much-needed heating and cooling upgrades to their homes. 13. Washington, D.C. Rebates are not the only reason to invest in home upgrades. Hillrag heat pump and or induction stove. Wilcox Electric has worked in and around D.C., including the Hill, for over 30 years. Steve Wilcox, master. 14. Wisconsin. The fire brings with it warm memories. Central Wisconsin news. Inside the house at the wood-burning stove, I placed the kindling and a few larger pieces of firewood into a pyramid shape. Opened the draft. 15A. Canada heat pumps. Nova Scotians warned about false heat pump rebate promises. Halifax News. City News. Efficiency. Nova Scotia is warning residents about companies using deceptive sales tactics to sell heat pumps, falsely promising rebates that may predatory companies selling heat pumps by making false rebate promises. Warns Efficiency. Nova Scotia. CBC. Unaffiliated contractors pushing customers into high interest long-term financing, says organization. A heat pump on a wall in a home. Tobin of Efficiency. Nova Scotia said most of their programs require pre-approval for rebates before any work is. Yahoo News. Canada heat pump systems with the promise of a rebate that in some cases never materializes. The non-profit organization which offers programs and rebates. 15B. Canada. Ontario. Aurelia. Attention homeowners. Save big on heat pumps with generous rebates on now. Aurelia Matters. The rebates are back, and now is a great time to take advantage of huge savings by installing a heat pump with no home energy assessment required. 16. Germany. Hamburg Green Party. Forest biomass growth to soar through 2030, impacting tropical forests. Munga Bay. The Hamburg Green Party claimed victory for the switch as the energy firm involved acknowledged that burning would increases emissions and damages by 2030. The supply of forest biomass for energy is projected to triple compared to 2021, after expanding by 50% between 2010 and 2021. That jump in wood pellet production to meet global demand will require a 13-fold increase in monoculture biomass plantations from current levels, especially in Southeast Asia. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization. Hamburg, the second largest city in Germany behind Berlin, decided in December not to convert a large coal-fired power plant to wood pellets. a rare policy reversal in the EU. The Hamburg Green Party claimed victory for the switch as the energy firm involved acknowledged that burning would increase emissions and damages forests. 17 China exploring indoor PM 2.5 pollution characteristics in Xi'an City and its health implications using ScienceDirectCom full coverage. China and India. France 24 PM 2.5 particulate matter carried in the thick blankets of smog pervading the Chinese capital. The air quality data from the U.S. Embassy is also U.S. Halt's air quality data tracking at embassies in China and India. The Express Tribune. The data which tracked fine particulate matter PM 2.5 have been particularly influential in countries with severe air pollution such as China and 18 Taiwan unveiling secondary inorganic PM 2.5 pollution in northern Taiwan. The role of aerosol. ScienceDirectCom PM 2.5 is widely recognized for its detrimental effects on atmospheric visibility, human health, and the radiative balance of the Earth. Water soluble. 19A PM 2.5 and different pollution types. Vertical distribution, temporal evolution, and comparison of different pollution types. ScienceDirectCom as PM 2.5 and O3 are the most important atmospheric pollutants in the Yangtze River Delta, clarifying the vertical structure evolution characteristics. 19B PM 2.5 and machine learning algorithms. PM 2.5 concentration prediction using machine learning algorithms and approach to virtual nature. The fine particulate matter with aerodynamic diameter less than 2.5 micrometers, for example PM 2.5, has been reported strongly associated with human diseases. PDF PM 2.5 concentration prediction using machine learning algorithms. ResearchGate and epidemiological research keywords. Particulate matter machine learning models. Meteorological data. PM 2.5 prediction machine learning guided integration of fixed and mobile sensors for high resolution urban nature. Particulate matter. PM 2.5 concentration variability. Understanding the spatio-temporal distribution and formation mechanisms of PM 2.5 is crucial. 19C PM 2.5 and OPD association of fine particulate matter constituents with chronic obstructive pulmonary nature. We observed synergistic effects between genetic risk and exposure to PM 2.5 EC and H4+ and SO42- accounting for 10 to 18% of total COPD risk. Prolonged 19 DPM 2.5 and pregnancy. PM 2.5 constituent exposures and maternal circulatory homocysteine. In early pregnancy, Environmental Health Biomed Central, we investigated the associations of fine particulate matter PM 2.5 and chemical constituent exposures with maternal circulatory HCY in early.
One introduction. RAWSEP View. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove. International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP View. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.